Hello, class. Today we'll be talking about the Linux database. My name is Christian Allanson. This is for class ISA 4220. I'm not really sure how to pronounce this, so please don't make fun of me if it doesn't sound correct. But the database for Linux is known as Postgres, or otherwise known as PostgreSQL. This is a powerful open source object relational database system, able to be customized however the user would like to assist them in storing their data efficiently. It's more than 15 years old with active development. It's very reputable with a lot of companies. Due to its data integrity and correctness, it can run on most major operating systems, including Linux, Unix, and Windows. It includes most SQL 2008 data types, such as integer, numeric, Boolean, date, interval, and timestamps. It includes most native programming interfaces, such as C, C++, and Java, Perl, Python, Ruby, and many others. It has many sophisticated features, such as multi-version concurrency control, MVCC. This helps the provides concurrent access to their database. Unlike most other database systems which use locks for concurrency control, this multi-version concurrency control queries each database transaction and looks at it as a snapshot of data in the past, regardless of any data that's beneath that or above that. This allows for protection for the transaction from viewing inconsistent data that could be caused by other concurrent transaction updates on the same data rows. It provides transaction isolation for each database session. The main difference between a multi-version and lock models is that the MVCC locks acquired for reading data don't conflict with locks acquired for writing data, and vice versa. It also allows for point-in-time recovery, which is when the user is able to obtain data from a specific time in the past. It also has asynchronous replication, which allows for data to be written in two places at one time, usually a primary and a secondary location, for reassurance. Also has its own query planner and optimizer, as well as following the Unicode standard for sorting, case sensitivity, and formatting, and so forth. This database is extremely scalable with the amount of data it can manage and the number of concurrent users it can accommodate. Technical discussion continued here. The limits for the limits for SQL are for the size. Max database size is unlimited. The table size is a max of 32 terabytes. Max row size of 1.6 terabytes. A max field size of 1 gig, and max rows per table depends on what type of column is used. Max indexes per table is also unlimited. has a lot of space for whatever purposes. Uh, it includes GIST, which is a generalized search tree. It's used as for indexing. Um, it uses a wide array of different sorting and searching algorithms, including the B tree, B plus tree, the R tree, and the B plus minus trees, as well as many others. Um, this also provides an interface to allow the creation of custom data types, um, as well as extensible query methods with which to search. Uh, just pretty much offers flexibility to what you're storing and how you store it, and how you can define new ways to search through through all the data that's stored here. It also includes table inheritance, rules systems, and databases events functionality. Um, Table inheritance is when it puts an object-oriented slant on table creation, uh, allowing the database designers to create new tables from other tables, treating them as base classes. Um, the rule system, it's also called the query rewrite system, allows the database designer to make rules which can identify specific operations for a given table or view. It can also transform them into alternate operations when they are processed. The event system, it's a communication system, inter-process communication system in which messages and events are transmitted between clients using the list and notify commands. This is simple peer-to-peer communication. Although since notifications can be issued from triggers and stored procedures, SQL clients can monitor the events such as table updates, inserts, or deletes as they happen. Next is SQL hardening. When this is downloaded and used for the first time, it enables peer authentication by default. This is when SQL handles authentication by associating Linux user accounts with SQL accounts. Postgres creates a Linux user called Postgres, which is used to access the system. This is the code to access the SQL system without a password, usually because it's connected to the user account, which is already secured. A good note to make is to not use the Postgres user for anything other than accessing the database software. One way to ensure that users and data can be separated if necessary is to assign a distinct role for each application. To create a new role, you would type create role name with whatever permissions you want to have specified with that role. To view the assignable permissions for each role, you type /h create role. To change the permissions, you type alter role name, and add optional permissions as well if needed. Another step for hardening would be to set limits on the database to avoid DOS attacks if people are using this remotely. That's to limit the max connections made. to the database server. The amount of reserved slots for any amount of super users, there should be one at least. You want to set a limit for replication slots, so people can't just have unlimited amounts of data being replicated to both the primary and secondary database. And that's it. Hardening continued. To secure the data, you would want to use disk and file level encryption with the command pg crypto, or use an application API. You'd want to log long queries, monitor resource usages and their sessions. Make sure there's no malicious activity or suspicious activity going on. You'd want to turn the logging collector on to be able to view that information. You can set the log destination to a specific file, as well as a directory, and create its own directory. To avoid network spoofing, you'd use SSL encryption for communications. This is usually configured on the client and the server. Using the SSL mode verify CS or verify full is extremely beneficial for the clients to diminish eavesdropping and deter man-in-the-middle attacks. And I believe that is all I have for this PowerPoint. Thanks for listening.